but the private schools cannot randomly give every child this admission in under RTE Act. Okay, so what is the provision under RTE for the private school admission is that in private schools 25% seats will be reserved for the poor categories. Okay, the one who cannot afford to learn in private schools, they can get admission in the private schools under the RTE Act. Okay, so this was the. Hey, can you just mute yourself? Yeah. Okay. So the next is it lays down standards for proper student teacher ratio for each school. Okay, buildings. Now under the RT there are many small points that are mentioned. One is the student teacher ratio, another is about the school building, the next is about the school infrastructure, the next is about the school working hours and teacher working hours. Okay, it prohibits the physical punishment of the student, mental harassment of the student, screening procedures for admission. Okay, so if suppose a child is poor and wants to take an admission in a uh, private school nearby to his place, then there will be no screening procedures for the child. The capitation fees will not be there. Private tuition fees by the teachers will not be there, and running school without the recognition. Okay, and the school should have recognition. Okay, then only the child will get admission under RTE. Any school cannot admit the child under RTE. Okay, then RTE also provides curriculum in consonance with the values enshrined in the constitution for all round development. Okay, now they have under the RTE they say that there should be a curriculum which is having the constitutional aim, which will fulfill the constitutional aim of all round development of the child by building in the child the potentials which we have earlier also discussed, that what we actually want our children to. When in the first class I asked you about the preamble of the country, I was actually meaning to say that our constitution wants that our children should grow up or learn or have an all round development of themselves. Now, what is all-round development? They should build all the potentials that the child is having inside. The knowledge should be given to the child. The child should be able to learn in a free environment where there is no trauma, and anxiety. Okay, this is the provisions under RTE. Then a non-admitted child may be admitted to an age-appropriate class. Under the RTE, there is also a provision that if suppose, see, the elementary education is from the age 6 to 14. Okay, but if the child is suppose of 8 years, okay, and the child wants to get admission not in the mm, age appropriate class, that is not in the first standard, but the child wants to get an admission maybe in third standard or fourth standard, then the child should be given that admission. Okay, so this is also a provision. Then sharing of financial responsibilities will be with the state and the center, both the central government and the state government both will pay for it. The act provides that no child will be held back, expelled, or required to pass a board exam until the completion of elementary education. Okay, so under the RTE there is no detention policy. As we have seen earlier also, no detention policy was said by uh, NPE 1986, wherein it said that no child should be detained or failed in any of the class till he completes the elementary education. Okay, so similarly, RTE also says that we should have we should not held back any child in any class until he or she completes the elementary education. Okay, so there is a provision for special training of the school dropouts to bring them at par with the students. Now there are many students who join the elementary education, talking about the government schools, they join the enroll in the elementary schools, but slowly they drop out due to many reasons, maybe about the economic reasons of the family, or maybe they have to they are not interested in studies, and so many reasons are there due to which maybe their family is not supporting them, and there are so many reasons due to which they drop out from the school. Okay, so there is a provision in RTE that if suppose a child has dropped out, and suppose the child was 6 years old and got admission in the elementary school, and the child now wants to enter into is of 8 years and now wants to enter into third or fourth standard, so there should be special training for that child, so that he becomes at par with the children who are of 8 years, and then he is entered into the school. Okay, then RTE ensures the enrollment and attendance and completion of elementary education in the is the responsibility of the government. Okay, so under the RTE, if the child is irrespective of whether the child is in a private school or in a government school, the government should ensure that the child completes his or her uh, learning. Okay, or what to say, their class. Okay, now RTE is also for the people with disabilities until the age of 18 years. Okay, the person with disabilities can also get admission in a school which is having proper infrastructure for disabled students, and can help the child to learn well. Okay, schools which do not fulfill the standards within 3 years. Okay, all the schools should be having provisions under RTE. It is said that all the schools should have provisions so that it supports the learning of disabled students also. Okay, under which we have building of ramps for walking, or for the wheelchair to move, under which we have uh, uh, specialized toilets for such children. Then we have other provisions like having different softwares for blind children, or for hearing impaired children. Okay, on the computers in the schools. So these are some of the provisions. Then schools which do not fulfill this, okay, all private schools will have to apply for the recognition. If the recognition railing to do not will be penalized to tune 1 lakh, and still they continue, they might have to pay 10,000 per day. Okay, now see, all the private schools should enroll themselves in the under the RTE Act, so that the children who wish to take admission under the RTE in a particular private school can take permission, can take admission. Okay, so if they don't take private schools do not take the recognition from the government, then they will be penalized, or they will have to pay a fine. Okay, then norms and standards of teacher qualification and training should be ensured. Okay, so what is the norms and standards? It is B.Ed, BSc B.Ed, or BA B.Ed, or now of course BCom B.Ed also can be teaching. Okay, and that should be ensured in the school. Okay, and if the school doesn't ensure the qualified teachers, then the school might be penalized 25,000 rupees. Then RTE is a part of Article 45 and Article 21 of Constitution. Have you all heard about Article 45 and Article 21 of the Constitution?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. So Article 45 and Article 21 were written in the Constitution when the Constitution was framed. Okay. So what Article 45 says is provision for free and compulsory education for all the children up to the age of 14 years. Okay. So up that time it was written that free and compulsory education should be given to all the children up to the age of 14 years within 10 years of promulgation of the constitution. Okay, means when the constitution will be formulated and its implementation is started, within 10 years of that all the children of that age 6 to 14 should be in the school and should be inside the classrooms. Okay, so that is what. And then they said that within 10 years this free and compulsory education should ensure that all the students between the age of 6 to 14 have got admitted and are getting education. Okay. Then Article 21A of the Constitution says that the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children between the age of 6 to 14 years in such a manner as the state may by law determine. Okay, so the state may have its own law, or it is by law that the child should under the age of 6 to 14 years should get free and compulsory education. So both Article 45 and Article 21A emphasize on giving free and compulsory education up till the child is of 14 years. Okay. And but the only thing which was additional in Article 45 was that it aimed at getting all the children enrolled and getting all the children into the elementary education within 10 years of the start of the constitution or after the constitution is being framed. Okay. But Article 21 just said that it should provide free and compulsory education to all children between the age of 6 to 14 years. Okay. And that was by law. It is a law, so it has to be implemented as a law. Okay. Then RTE is the first legislation by any government in the world which places the responsibility of the enrollment, attendance, and completion of elementary education of the child on the government. Okay. So all this while, though in the constitution it was written in Article 45 and 21 that education is free and compulsory and should be free and compulsory, still we didn't have full enrollment in the classrooms. So now under the RTE, what new thing was added is that it is the responsibility of the government, of the state government and the central government, that the attendance or the children under the age of 6 to 14 get enrolled in the elementary schools. Okay, so nowhere in the constitution 41 and 45 and 21A was written that the government is responsible if the child is not enrolled in the school. But under the RTE, it was the government's responsibility to see that all the children under this age is inside the elementary schools. Okay. Now, okay. So this was the provision. Now, the last thing is that the provision says that even if the children are of child laborers, even if the children are migrants, even if the children belong to socio-economically backward caste, they are from some geographically distant areas or rural areas, they have some linguistic problems, they have the children should not be biased in the classroom. They should not experience bias. Now imagine that a child who is so economically back, coming from an economically backward class, it takes an admission into a private school where the middle class students go. Okay, so what happens? His morale becomes down, because what the middle class students can afford in terms of the resources, the child who is from coming from a poor class should not, will not afford. Okay, what happens is the child will become feel demotivated. Okay, but the RTE Act says that though the child himself might feel anything, but the teachers and the staff in the school should not make any bias to the child, and based on gender also there should be no bias. Okay, so this is what RTE says. So no child should be experiencing the bias of the teacher, in the behavior of the teacher, the bias, if he is coming from a socio-economically backward place, is coming he is having geographically some he's coming from a place where geographically there are a lot of hardships. Okay, like we have hilly regions, we have plateaus. Okay, if the child is socio-economically backward, all these things are the problems that the child is having when he takes admission in a private school under RTE or in a government school. But the child should not be biased, should not experience any bias based on all these things. The RTE also provides a scope of remedial teaching to the disadvantaged students. Okay, now who are disadvantaged students? The students who have, there are many disadvantages. The one is who is coming from a socio-economically weaker section of the society, they are disadvantaged. The one who don't have parents and elders at home who can support them in teaching learning, they are also disadvantaged. Okay, people who are having some physical disability, they are also disadvantaged. Okay, so any disadvantaged group in the school should get remedial teaching under RTE. So RTE says they should be given remedial teaching. Okay. For example, a child is disabled and not able to focus or not able to learn at the pace of the other students. Okay, then there should be a remedial class which is separately for that child or for few children like him. Okay, it gives provision for compulsory elementary education which ensures their social development. Okay, so this is the RTE Act. Okay, now we go on to RMSA. Okay, you know what is RMSA? I think I told you once what is SSA and what is RMSA.
मैम राष्ट्रीय माध्यमिक शिक्षा अभियान.
Yeah, it is Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan. And as we say Madhyamik, Prathmik is primary or elementary education. Madhyamik Shiksha is secondary education. Okay. So this Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan, now see what happened is when we got independence, we wanted that there should be free and compulsory elementary education. Why we wanted a free and compulsory elementary education? Because we wanted that all the children and all the people in our country should at least get the elementary education. Okay, so if you remember, because there were many illiterates, we also had adult non-formal classrooms for the people who are old aged and want to learn now. Okay. So the main aim of us was universalizing the elementary education. Why did we make elementary education free and compulsory? Why we are giving so much emphasis on elementary education? Because we want that every person should at least undergo the elementary schooling. Okay, in the class, in the country. Okay. Now, with respect to this, I have an example to share, but I think I'll do it after the after all the points of RMSA are over. This is regarding my experience in yesterday's election duty. Okay. So let us first focus on what are the objectives of RMSA. Okay, so SSA was Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan aimed at universalization. Now, see what is universalization? Universalization means all the people or all the children who are in the age group of 6 to 14 will get elementary education. That is universalization of elementary education. And to monitor that and to ensure that the universalization takes place, we had SSA, we had started Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Okay, that we will see in the tomorrow's class. And if universalization happens, then what happens? All the children in that age group enters into elementary school. Similarly, RMSA was started, or Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan was started, so that we give quality secondary education and universal access of secondary education. Okay, there were two aims. One was already secondary schools were existing in our country. Okay, so the schools which are existing should give quality secondary education, and wherever the access to secondary schools are not there, there the new schools had to be started so that the children get access to secondary education. Okay, so the scheme was launched in 2009, and there was they aimed that by 2017 the quality of secondary education should be improved. Okay, the next is, it also envisaged 90% enrollment 90% enrollment of the students in the secondary class. Okay, that is 14 to 16 years, and 75% of the students 16 to 18 years by setting at a reasonable distance of their habitat. Now see why many of the children after completing elementary schools don't go to the secondary schools. See, we are in the city called Vadodara, so we know that after the elementary school we have to go to the secondary classes. We go to 9, 10, then 11, 12. But there are rural places, there are villages, there are far flung areas, geographical areas, where after the completion of the elementary schools they hardly have the secondary schools near to their place. And if they don't have the secondary schools, then naturally they will not be able to join it. They will not be joining the secondary schools. Okay, so under the RMSA, okay, under the RMSA scheme, what they said that at least 90% enrollment of the students should be there in the secondary schools. Okay, what does the 90% mean? It means that out of all the children who are passing out of the elementary schools in a particular area, at least 90% of those children should enroll in the secondary in the secondary schools. Okay, because see, if you remember, I told you this Indian scenario. We have people in India who cannot afford to learn more, who cannot go to secondary classes. After the elementary classes only, they are discouraged by their parents or by their elders not to go because they have to earn for the family, or they have many responsibilities in the family. Okay, so such children may not enroll into the secondary schools. But RMSA aimed that out of the 100% who go to the elementary schools, at least 90% of them should enroll in secondary classes. Okay, and for doing that, RMSA aimed at opening up new secondary schools which are nearby to the elementary schools, so that the students have in their own vicinity or in their own near their own residential area, they have secondary schools. If secondary schools are available, maybe many of them would like to enroll. Because it is not available and they have to walk long distances to take secondary education, maybe one of the reasons is this also, that they don't go for secondary schooling. Okay, so to ensure all the secondary schools have physical facilities. Now RMSA wanted that all the secondary schools should have basic physical facilities, the staff who are trained, financial support, and they should have, and if it is a government aided or local aided schools, then appropriate regulatory mechanisms for other schools should also be there. The next is to improve access. Okay, now how will the access be improved? See, either open up the secondary schools near the vicinity of the elementary schools, okay, in areas where it is very difficult for the children to reach. Okay, now, it may also happen that there are certain problems, and in the same vicinity, a secondary school cannot be opened. So, what can be done? Wherever the land is available, the secondary schools can be opened, and the children can be given transportation facility. Okay, so providing safe transport to the secondary school was also one of the objective of RMSA. Okay, and if the schools are very far, then RMSA says that the secondary school should have residential facilities for the children. Okay. Then next is improving quality of education by making secondary schools conform to norms related to gender differences, socio-economic background, and disabilities condition of the student. Okay, now in the secondary schools you might have children coming from different gender, okay, children with different socio-economic background, okay, children who are disabled. You will have all mixture of those children in secondary who are going to the secondary schools. Okay, so improving the quality of education by making secondary schools conforming to the norms of the related to uh, so these schools should conform to the norms. Okay, norms of gender differences, socioeconomic background, means all the children in the class should be treated at par, or they should be treated equally. If the child is from a socioeconomically backward class, then also he should not, there should not be any bias. Then disability, if the child is having, then also there should not be any bias. To ensure that the no child is deprived of quality secondary education, uh, was also one of the objective of RMSA. Another is quality of education to develop. Okay, now RMSA also aimed that along with 90% enrollment of the children in the secondary schools, it also envisaged that there should be proper intellectual, social, and cultural learning in the students who pass out from the secondary classes at the age of 16. Okay, then there were certain strategies which were used for the implementation of RMSA. Okay, because see, we focused after independence, we focused more on elementary education, universalization of elementary education. Okay, so for universalization means easy access of elementary education in every nook and corner of the country. We aimed at that. Okay, so what we did is we opened up much of elementary schools, but there was hardly any attention paid to the secondary schools. Okay, so now for providing secondary education, who came up? The private sectors came up, and there are more of private schools in secondary classes, for secondary classes, and very less number of uh, very less secondary schools which are of government. Okay, so private schools were there, secondary schools, but government secondary schools were very few. Okay, so what RMSA aimed that in the nearby vicinity of the elementary schools, the government secondary schools should be opened up. Okay, now what are the provisions that are to be provided in a secondary school for the children to learn? One is laboratory, another is computer room. Okay, then library, then proper toilet for girls and boys, and appointment of additional teachers if required. Then next is providing special incentives to the children coming from SC, ST minorities and other weaker sections of the society. Okay, now these children who come from SC, ST minorities and other weaker sections may not feel to take up secondary education after the elementary education. Why? Because they feel one is their moral is already down, their determination is already down, another is their poor economic conditions. Okay, and so what happens is, when these people come from the weaker sections for the secondary education, and they will already be feeling low inside themselves. So if they are now not getting fees and everything to pay, then they might suffer further or emotionally get disturbed, and hence under RMSA, there are fees that is paid for SC, ST, and minorities and other weaker sections like OBCs. Okay, and now because digitization is done, the children get the tuition fees money in their account. Okay, they have to open an account, and in that bank account only the money is deposited. Now RMSA also aimed at improving the quality of education. How can the quality be improved? Okay, for improving the quality, first is that we should ensure enrollment of the students, or students taking admission in the secondary school is important. Then only we can think about quality of secondary education. Okay, so what it said was that there should be a special drive to enroll students in the secondary classes, especially in the weaker sections of the society, where there is you know weaker sections of the society, where there is uh, not much resources available. It is an agricultural place, or it is a village, or it is a rural place where you have mountains, hills, plateaus, where you don't get resources easily. In such weaker sections of the society, and where people belonging to SC, ST, or weaker sections are staying, in such places, the students should be provided, the enrollment should be ensured, and for ensuring enrollment, special drives should be there. Special drives means going door to door to find out that if children between the age of 14 to 16 are there. If they are there, then they should be admitted in the schools. Now there should be, they also said there should be special uh, focus on opening ashram shalas, especially in the areas of SC, STs and minorities. Okay, then starting residential hostels for the teachers in remote areas. See, when you are starting new schools, secondary schools in remote areas where access to the city or access to the nearby bigger place or towns is very difficult, then the teachers will also not like to go and teach there, isn't it? So for that, RMSA said that there should be special provisions for the teachers to stay there itself. Okay, the next strategy for implementation of RMSA was provision of physical activity. So this I have already told you, that there should be libraries, there should be science lab, there should be special toilet blocks for children, and drinking facilities should be there, and there should be additional classrooms. And one more thing is there should be art and craft room for the children. Okay, so The last point that RMSA highlighted and wanted that it should be there in every secondary school is that curricular reforms. Okay, it was about the curriculum. So what they said is that what it said is that it should ensure ICT based education. Okay, it should ensure ICT based education. So under RMSA, there are even funds given to the schools. Okay, so if you see now, the scenario is changed. If you see in any secondary schools, I have one of my friends who is working in a secondary school, government secondary school, in some district which is near to that, what we say, where that Sardar Patel statue is there. Which district is that?
Kevadia colony.
Yeah, near the Kevadia, there is one secondary school, and one of my friends is working there. Okay, so he says that we have whiteboard because the government gives them certain funds to upgrade the infrastructure. So they have whiteboards, they have smart boards. So ICT based learning is now to be ensured in all the secondary schools. Okay, and for that, for to the government schools, they get some funding provisions also. Okay, focusing more on teaching maths and science and English. Okay, so these three subjects should be focused more. That is what RMSA says, and the teaching methods should be improved. Then there should be certain points on which the staff selection is done. One is appointment of more female teachers, and another thing is that the student teacher ratio should be 30 to 1. So if you see in any of the government school, secondary schools, this ratio will be 30 is to 1 only. Okay, if the children are more than 30 or 35, then the separate section will be there, and for each section one teacher has to be appointed. Okay, so if suppose in a secondary school, 9th and 10th classes are there, and if there are suppose two sections of 9th standard and two sections of 10th standard, then they will be having four teachers, and four teachers can be from different subjects. Okay, because they require teachers of different subjects. Secondary classes, any teacher cannot teach any subject. Okay, so these are the basic aims and objectives of RMSA, and these are the things that RMSA says. Okay, so this is all in PPT form. So today I have made it a point that I will send you all these PPTs, which I have promised you since 4-5 days. I'll do that, and I understand that you might also be tense that exams are coming and you need to have the material. Okay, yeah, the other thing is something I have sent to Mariam. So is that not clear enough to read and understand?
Ma'am, I have not shared because you told that I will scan it and give you. That's why I was waiting for your
Yeah,
scanner
it's
to do.
okay. I'll try to scan it, but with my scanner, it's not coming, and then I have to download the cam scanner and all. So, what I feel is you just see if it is possible to read. Do you
Ma'am,
take a
it is,
printout then?
we can read it, but dates and many last letters are been deleted. मतलब cut हो गया है, crop हो गया है. इसलिए मैंने क्लासरूम में नहीं
आई
भेजा.
अंडरस्टैंड, वो बुक का बीच का हिस्सा है ना, इसलिए वो टर्न हो जा रहा था जब मैं कर रही थी तब, लेकिन वो
हाँ
मैं
हाँ.
उसको ठीक से करके भेजूंगी. आई अंडरस्टूड,
ओके मैम.
इसीलिए
तो
तो
फिर
बोल
मैंने
रही थी
सोचा
कि
कि दो बार ग्रुप में पूरा सेंड करो, उससे बेटर एक
नहीं,
प्रॉपर.
मत भेजो, मैं उसको ठीक से भेजूंगी. एक्चुअली क्या है कि बुक थोड़ा सा थिक है, और फिर उसको बीच में ही कहीं पे है, तो वो ठीक से रख के मैंने नहीं खींचा, इसीलिए वो तो कट हो गया है. अंडरस्टूड. ठीक है, मैं देख के तुमको करके भेजती हूँ आज. ठीक है. Okay, so it is 1:30, so we will break, and tomorrow we have a class at 11 o'clock, if you remember. So that I think I'll wind up with this topics. हो जाएगा ऐसा लगता है.
ओके मैम.
ICC ही बाकी है
Okay,
अब.
ma'am.
ठीक है. Okay then. Bye.
थैंक यू मैम.
Yeah, I wanted to share with you some experience from my election duty experience. See, all this while, because I was brought up in, you have another class after this?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Then I'll share it tomorrow because I think it will get late. It is 37.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine then. Bye.
Good day, ma'am.
Good day, ma'am.
Yeah, good day.